I can read Japanese. Here, watch. No, it means, Rachel, give your Chandra to Vlad. That's what the on the back. No, I would get my own. That's not hard. Oh, yeah.
You got the trench coat. I saw the guy with the lightweight, but it wasn't as too much.
That's what the basics
And Johnny's not that great. And that's a great. They could honestly use a great in my, what's it called? Yeah, my green bar. Yeah, it's every single okay, yeah, exactly. Probably not. Well, actually, maybe. I'm not sure. I think we just does some stuff on packs. Yep. If you have any blue with that deck,
Alright, welcome everyone to Burn On Site Bad Anime. So I hope you're all ready to see the very worst. I'm Scott, and here we have...
This is Dan.
Brendan.
And I'm Stu. What's going on, guys?
This is going to be great. All we ask is that you don't either knock over or get in the way of our two taping cameras, and let's take this away.
Alright, welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to Bad Anime Burn On Site. So, what do we have for you today? First up, we have My Bad Anime. Yami Boshi to Honda Tabibito. I'm willing to bet that not a lot of you have heard about this particular one. A little bit obscure, but hey, let's see where it goes. Why is this so bad? Well, we got a tale of creepy obsessive lesbian sisters. And that's about all you need to know right there, but let's delve a little deeper, shall we? First scene you see at the very beginning of this. Bam! Lesbians. Now,
what's wrong with that?
How can this possibly be bad? This has everything I love right here. Let me tell you, first off, they're sisters. If that doesn't turn you off, then seriously. This girl here, horrible, uncaring. The other one, completely obsessive. Little bit of a creepy relationship. And if that isn't enough to turn you off, they're both 15. If this were live action, you'd all be registered sex offenders. So let's begin with Hatsuki, our heroine here. She's pretty standard, pretty much the same long-haired, tall, relatively butch female lead that you've seen in just about every other anime. She's got a pretty obsessive relationship going on with her sister over here. Kind of a one-track mind. Really, her sister's everything she thinks about. Yeah. That's about right. And, at first, it starts out, it's at night, and, she's thinking about her sister, of course. Oh. This isn't good. But, so she goes into her sister's room late at night at the very beginning of this, and this happens. Her sister vanishes in a flash of light. So, eventually she is visited by this small talking canary, which tells her that her sister has just traveled to another world, basically proving that multiverse theory is in fact true. And what does she do? She threatens him. And says that that I will basically cut you if you don't take me with you to find this woman. It's like, okay, well, I imagine that that's a pretty convincing argument. So it's time to start our story. But all of a sudden, the Trans-Siberian Railroad. Where this came from, I don't know. This is the first half of episode 1. Okay, maybe this is actually going to be kind of good. There's there's some spy plots going on. This is gonna be great. These guys got introduced in cool, like, manga-style splash screens. These guys are gonna be awesome. How could this possibly end badly? Oh, because she shows up. This character's named Lilith. We'll have more on her later. She shows up, and at this point, you just can't take the show seriously anymore. This is... How does that resolve? With a kick in the face. The way it ought to be. Well, what is our main character doing all of this? Pretty much nothing. And that's kind of how it goes for most of the show. She really doesn't do a lot in the worlds that they visit. And suddenly, this guy's introduced. Where did this all come from? I'm not really sure, but he shows up and immediately starts doing this. Why is he a villain? Apparently because he's trying to find Eve, which is the real name of that girl's sister. And apparently his plan is evil. It's really unclear. But back to the story. So the real key here is that these characters are hopping through these different worlds, all of which are based on books which exist in this, the library, the end of time, or whatever the heck it's called. Basically, it's a world where all the stories of the world are put together in just giant volumes, and you'd think that would sound pretty cool. But once again, the caretaker of the library is this. And this is 3 episodes in before we actually get to, like, explaining where they are and why they're in, the Trans-Siberian Railroad. But let's go and just quickly recap our cast. We've got Hatsuki, our heroine, over here. We've got Hatsumi, Eve, God knows what else they're calling her, the objective that everyone's after. We got our villain. His name is Gargantua, folks. Doesn't he look it? And we have Lilith, our required fetish fuel and baggage. Just so you know, that's their relationships. Sister, his obsession, and her real sister. These are the supporting cast. They all show up for about 1 episode and then are completely forgotten. I make flowcharts. This is chronological order. So where are we now? We're up here. We started around there. We haven't really moved very far. Why are we doing this again? Because we're trying to find her. She is actually the sister of the caretaker of the library, and it's supposed to be her job to take care of this whole thing. But she has decided that she wants to go around and play in the book worlds, thereby abandoning the one task assigned to her for the past tens of thousands of years. Really kind of a horrible person. So, what's going on? Back to the story, for reals this time. But wait, we've got to have a flashback that doesn't have anything to do with our main characters. This is apparently sometime in the past that one world that, in this case, Jill, her name is, visits, and that happens. So, there's a bit of scarring going on. She hasn't really left a good mark on most of the places that she's visited. And then suddenly we're in the future of that world, and that little girl that you saw not getting stabbed has grown up to be the caretaker of this princess. Gargantua is after that princess, actually being kind of evil there, but her caretaker, the white mage / nightwalker, is having none of that. She defeats him, and what's her thanks for all of this? Getting thrown into a dungeon because the princess ended up dying anyway. That'll show you. But it turns out that he did succeed in part of his plan, which was selling those princesses' soul to a demon, which turns out to be Lilith. That's about the only connection he has to anybody else in the show. So, really, he's really poorly established. Now we're suddenly in a prehistoric world. We're back to the main past. They've grown up Lilith as a god, but the real god shows up and gets killed by them. So, what did we get? What was our net game from this world? Deicide. That's it. Nothing else. We're at episode 5. Really? So now we're on a tropical island all of a sudden. She works with the villain, but really doesn't accomplish anything. The sky gets torn in half. This thing pokes through. But if you think the plot is progressing too fast for you, don't worry. We're still in time for a flashback episode. And this happens. We see Hazuki's sister, Hatsumi, to her, giving her pancakes. Trust me, I hate to tell you this, but it's actually important. Now, to explain to you just how evil this child really is, look at this. It's a little hard to see, but right here is a note that was given to Hatsuki, and over there is a screen capture from her sister's screen. She has been giving her anonymous love letters, telling her that they can never be together, despite the fact that her sister has been obviously obsessing over her for pretty much their entire lives. She knew about it, she just didn't care, and felt like the easiest way to let her down was to disappear on the eve of her 16th birthday. Where are we now? Before the first episode. Now we're in feudal Japan. You think that that's supposed to be the right girl, but of course not. She's her descendant from another time period when she jumped into this world and, screwed everything up. They fight some ninjas. Why she knows how to use a sword? Never established. Now no more flashbacks. Lilith's being evil. She's giving Gargantua pretty much everything she wants. Except she's also got an ulterior motive, which mostly involves being a skank. But he doesn't really see anything in that, so she decides to trap him in his own world. And she comes back to taunt him now and again. And he decides to trap her, and I don't even know anymore. That doesn't work, so now they're going through space. Having adventures with these characters who will never be. Unfortunately, things are going badly. But with some magic, Lilith, she resolves all of that because, she's an eternal deity. She can do things like that. Where are we now? We got 2 episodes left to wrap up this train wreck, people. Let's get moving. We're now in the Universal Gardens. Why are we in space? I don't know. But it's run by this woman. I'd probably guess why she's here. And finally, everyone is assembled. Somehow, everyone who is looking for this girl has finally managed to get to the one place where, they can actually find her. This is great. We can get some resolution. But we're going to resolve the villain first. Because we don't care enough about our main characters. You think this is pretty bad. But he atones for all of his sins and gets a happy ending. And what is the girl's reaction to all of this? Blanket skepticism. I'm with you. So, back to the people we actually care about. Of course, Hatsuki wants to go home with her sister to, be creepy for some more time. But, she can't have any of that. She's a living god. She's got more important things to deal with. So, Hatsuki comes up with a great solution. And she goes Wayne Brady on us for a little while, but doesn't go through with it, unfortunately. Not that it would have mattered, she's a deity. Anyway, she decides to vanish in a flash of light again, leaving her with the words that I will always be with you, yada yada yada, I will see you again. When I come back as like I said. So, we're going to try to resolve all of this, mostly with lying. She says, I was in a world where, I took a bath, but there was another world where I didn't take a bath. Told me that once, didn't she? No, she never did. She never said that the other worlds had versions of you in them. She just said the other worlds existed. You're just going to lie to us for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, God! Yeah, like 7 straight minutes. How did you screw all of this up? She didn't even manage to send her back to her own world properly? You got 2 immortals going at this, and it still doesn't get to work. Well, Eve feels kind of bad about this, finally, so she decides to go back for one last little cuddle. So if you thought that any of that lesbianism was going to be doing anything for you, this is the bookend of it. That's about all you're going to get. But she doesn't even remember it. She doesn't remember anything. She has erased her memory, but left her the emotional trauma of losing her sister. And the knowledge that she is one day going to give birth to a daughter named Hatsumi. How a sister-obsessed lesbian is eventually going to have a daughter is beyond me. But what's the show's explanation for all of this horrible stuff? Pancakes. Apparently, the pancakes that Eve makes are so terrible, so universally despised, that eating them will cause you to lose all happiness in your life.
Oh, wow.
In the end, you realize she is just an uncaring deity who who doesn't give any thought to the horrible chaos she leaves in her wake as she travels through these worlds. So remember, folks, this is the face of evil.
Alright, so I'm here to talk about a very special anime. This anime. Specifically, yeah, it's time for Geist.
Go, Scott, go!
Alright, the Spokes Mecha, yes, the Spokes Mecha for the anime course. Alright, so, let's begin with, who is MD Geist? He's rugged, he's tough, he's just too cool. He's so dangerous to everyone. They shot him into space in an orbital prison satellite to make sure he could never come back. So what do you think's gonna happen now? Oh no! He's back. So alright, what is this terrible story about? He likes to kill people, but he likes guns to do it with. And that's pretty much it. That's what we're gonna have for the rest of the show. So let's take a quick rundown of the plot. Step 1, a cool weapon. Step 2, Geist is gonna kill some dudes. If you don't think they're seriously gonna take him down, do you? Then there's some more dudes we're gonna kill. Then we're gonna meet these guys after saving them and be like, yeah, anyone got any killing needs? Come on, I'm good at this. So they give him some new weapons, and then they explain to him what the real plot's about. Uh-oh. It turns out they made this doomsday weapon, and then their guy got assassinated. So it looks like it's working just like it should. What's the problem? Oh, well, it turns out we built our doomsday machine to kill everything and built 1 million robots to wipe out all life. So first of all, that doesn't seem like a very smart plan on their part. And I think I know why they lost this war they were fighting, because they spent all their money on robots that will kill them. But whatever, that's the reason. Where are we going to go now? The Brain Palace. Which, who names these things, I swear. Anyway, the last important step of the show is we're going to go kill more dudes, because that's how the show runs. So now, what other characters are there in this wonderful anime? Let's just look at them. No, he's not named. Really, I mean, there's other things in the show, but it doesn't matter. I don't think any of those guys are going to be important, right? No, it's just Geist being manly all the time. Like, let's have some examples of Geist manliness. There's a plane coming, and you want to shoot that thing down. Are you going to use a rocket? Are you going to shoot it down with a gun? No. You're going to fire this harpoon into it and shoot them in the face. This is the man that MD Geist is. You don't just ride on your awesome futuristic bike. You stand on top of that bike with a knife. That's right. Oh no, it's a mech. How are you going to fight it? Your own mech? Other rockets? No, a crowbar. That's how men fight mechs. And what do they do when they get inside? They stab a dude with a knife that has a grenade on the knife. Like, he's already dead. The grenade is just for effect. This is the kind of machismo. What it's most known for is how incredibly violent this film is. Like, the kind of stuff where, like, people don't have that much blood. Come on. Like, you're kidding me, right? Let's have a look. This is like a prologue to the film. Like, it's already this bad. And then it just gets more and more like, what is going on here? And people are like, oh, I bet this guy's going to make it out all right. What do you guys think? My favorite though, remember this guy from Geist Fights Some Dudes? Well, he has this awesome Kirk punch action going on. And then Geist cuts off both arms with a knife. It's so ridiculous. Like, you just can't get over it. But whatever, I almost forgot the most important part of the plot. We gotta go kill the super boss monster with his 3 transforming forms, just like any good RPG has. Kill all of your allies that you had for the movie, and then activate the Death Force. Releasing millions of robots across the planet. Really doofy looking robots, by the way. To kill everybody. Thank you guys for killing everybody. Movies this bad don't go away. Well, honestly, mostly skulls and the Planet of the Apes. Like, that's what's nice. But Geist, of course, is back, and he's ready. What is he doing? He released those robots because he really just wanted someone to play with. He would be bored otherwise. That's what he's up to. Meanwhile, we're going to try to have a semblance of a plot over here on the island base where all the rest of the humans are, protected by this jerk. Alright, so he's another most dangerous soldier like Geist, so he's pretty strong. But his problem is he has a little bit of a god complex. Like, he's ready to just strangle anybody that gets in his way. And of course, the two of these guys are going to have an apocalyptic showdown. But first, any new characters? And this time he's credited. But I mean, he's still not a named character. So like, who do we got? I mean, Slut's back. But the rest of these guys are totally forgettable. Except Child over there. Keep an eye on him. Also, I was even mentioning cannon fodder. I wonder if there's going to be more ultra-violence and gore in this show. Of course there is. There's intestines friggin' everywhere. Like, it just gets worse and worse as usual. Like, I wouldn't want to be a part of this future. This is where Geist wants to be. So, alright, the machismo is the machismo back. Yes, Geist is on fire in that shot. But he's the guy talking. He doesn't care he's on fire. I mean, he's both this ridiculous death machine that desires only destruction and a beautiful, chiseled Adonis.
Oh, wow.
Ready to be the most manly man. So, how does the story go? Well, there's going to be some fighting, a lot more fighting. There's going to be a scientist who's going to do something dumb for his experiments, because that's never been seen before. It's like a giant cliche race happening here, you might be noticing. Oh no, he's going to betray that other guy, Ultra Slut. She's got to be on screen. The military, of course, has to... I don't know where these guys came from. We released millions of robots to kill you guys. Why are you alive? Then a bunch of techno battle. We're going to fix the robot problem with a Genix bomb, because that makes sense. And then the military is going to super double betray everybody because they're the military. That's just what they do. And of course, Geist is going to screw over everyone again. He's like, oh no, my playthings. Run, little robots, get away from the bomb. So of course, the final showdown had to happen. Symbolism. However, during the battle, Geist might have got hit with something, but he gets the other guy to spear that kid. Remember that kid I told you? Sorry, kid. Somehow, that allows Geist to be like, yeah, I totally won that fight. Like, I know I've got a spear through me, but it's also through that kid, so I win. Take that, savior of humanity. And in the end, Geist leads the robots away, the human base explodes, the military dies, and nothing is left but horrible robots. So thanks, Geist. Thanks a lot. Most dangerous is MD. So, what have we learned from these two movies? If they're dangerous enough to put into orbit in a satellite, they're dangerous enough to just kill instead. Road trip to the sun works too, but you can't find a way out of that. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about a show called Mamotte Lollipop. I'd like to preface this by saying that I have an appreciation for well-done shoujo anime. Like, I mean, I really enjoyed Cardcaptor Sakura and Fumu no Sagashite, excellent show, and Kaijo Saint Tail. This is actually a really good show if you haven't heard it. I'm also kind of guy that watches a lot of DVD previews. So I was borrowing this DVD from one of my friends.
Oh, that's a zombie.
Magical Girls Club.
And it had a preview from the show, so I kept saving Lollipop on it. And I was watching the preview, I was kind of on the fence about it, until I saw this shot. I get close to being exhausted. And that's exactly what I saw going on here. So I thought, you know, it's got a halfway decent hook. I mean, I'll get to that in a second. And it's streaming basically everywhere Funimation can upload it, so it's not hard to find. I figured, oh, I'll give it a shot. And, you know, one more preface. I'm not here to make fun of shoujo drama. That would be kind of mean. But I am here to make fun of everything else about this show. If you're being incoherent, you're just asking me. So, what's the hook? Alright, girl finds round thing on cake dish. The only explanation is that it's some sort of hard candy, so the girl attempts to eat round thing. This doesn't go over well. She can take it out of her mouth. That swarm of dudes we saw earlier falling out of the sky. This one guy lands right in front of her, causing her to accidentally swallow the object. Not good. First things first, gotta deal with that, that mass of flying people.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this blue-haired guy and his friend who falls from the sky in a VW convertible. So I just got what I came here for. So this happens in the prologue in the first episode. So I thought, I'd figure it out. Finish it out, see if anything else interesting happened. Alright, so who are our male leads over here? Awesome. Zero and Ichi. People in the magical world name their kids after numbers. Our sorcerers. They're coming here to take a sorcery exam. Alright, so based on the spacing, we've got about 40 pairs of magicians going on there. And they're all on Earth looking for this bauble. And the girl just swallowed it. What would you do? You whip out your cell phone and you call the administrator. Unfortunately, the proctors aren't prepared for this either. Like, they know that it's going to take a magical medicine to get the pearl out of a human, but it's not going to be ready until Christmas. That's the day that the test ends. I tell you how far away that is, but the show doesn't date itself until episode 5. So, alright, how did you say you passed this test? You did. Obviously taking the girl who has the pearl in her doesn't count, but wait a second. Let's roll the tape back. From the moment that the pearl hit Nina's cake dish to the moment that Zero's feet hit the ground within arm's reach of the thing, with the entire examining class right behind him, was 35 seconds. Like, what would have happened if she hadn't swallowed the pearl? 40-wave magical battle royale right there in the street? This happens every year? Like, the test period is later revealed to be more than 5 months. For a glorified Easter egg hunt? That seems a little excessive. But whatever. We'll assume it's some sort of King of the Hilltop style game. The important thing is that these two guys take it upon themselves to protect Nina from the rest of the examinees who might not be so humane. Like this girl.
Look at her devil face.
Surely merciless space case here in the first episode, along with their partner and cousin on top of their
There it is.
their giant alpha hospital. What are your names, kids? Aw, number puns. Awesome. Well, fortunately for everybody except Forte here, San is violently ADHD and cares less about the sorcery exam than she does about delicious confections. And to better understand the dynamic between these two, the show burns an entire episode explaining their backstory. And what effect does this have on their portrayal? Well, San and Forte are pretty menacing for the first part of the show here. Then we get a view into their past, and after that, they're pretty much relegated to side characters of little real importance. I guess it's hard to have them function as antagonists once we get to know them. But after all, they're not the only ones who manage to track the pearl down. Several other teams of examinees carry devices which can detect it. And every once in a while, some of them will show up in Nina's neighborhood and become a new pair of adversaries. Like these two. More number 5. The thing about these two, though, is that Rogo is only taking the test because she's Ichi's would-be girlfriend, and Go is only here because he's her family's butler. So instead of being much of a threat, the pair mostly functions as a piece in developing romantic polygon. Things quiet down pretty quickly, and the audience isn't the only ones who think they could use some shaking up. So down comes one of the administrators to administer the midterm exam. What kind of test is the midterm exam? It's going to be rescue the princess from the wizard in the tower. This guy has a flair for the theatrical. However, the trials that make up this tower are kind of demented. His deception-based final confrontation with Zero Nichi is somehow lacking in closure. And he doesn't even end up following through on his threat to disqualify the teams that don't make it. So we're not a whole lot better off now than we were before either. But pretty soon, these clowns show up with a different flavor of number 1. Now, smitten by our 12-year-old heroine, Yakumo up there, rather than engage in outright combat, insists on trying to convince her to ditch her current bodyguards and roll with him and his oddly effeminate associate. Right? Since there's no real incentive for her to change my force, this doesn't work out very well.
They're both male.
Yeah, they are. You can
Okay.
Not to say it's more sinister, but we only get a couple of episodes out of these jokers before our most sidelined pair of examinees show up. More number 5s. The is here, though, is that she's chasing after her parentally arranged fiancé Zero. That sounds kind of familiar. And the only reason Toto is here is that he secretly likes her. At this point, I'm like, why are all the examinees we met ridiculous teenagers? And why are only half of them taking this test seriously? Like, how much weight can this possibly hold in the magical world if this is the way the test is? Nobody else shows up. They're in the summer uniforms now. Nobody else shows up until 12 hours before the test ends. Anyway, sorting out these two's drama is actually a remarkably quick job, orchestrated by our ever-present obligatory familiar mascot creature, Zura. Since the two of them didn't really care about passing the can to begin with, they head on back to the magical world, never to be heard from again. Net gain for the episode, gratuitous animal-eared Nina Zero / fodder. Anyway. So these kids are supposed to be sorcerers in training, right? Maybe they got some cool magical powers? Well, no, sort of. Bear with me as I work backwards here. We never actually get to see Ten's magic in action during the show since his role is so specific, but it might have something to do with these fairy folk we see when he and Nine fly by in the op. I say might because for all I know, Nine's tarot card powers can do darn near anything, in addition to gradually turn people into animals. And speaking of overly open-ended card-based powers, Seven builds curse cards to a widely variant effect in a few episodes where he's a significant player, like sticking them to fireballs to slow them down, or using them to facilitate the show's obligatory body swap episode. 8, on the other hand, has the ability to magically turn anything to a weapon, which, given his MO, is patently useless to him for the vast, vast majority of his screen time. Now, 6 probably has the most interestingly integrated powers in the entire show, transformation magic. She uses it to transform Nina into a baby, turn a piece of wood into a giant attack plushie, but it's revealed that while she's a pile of anime girl cliches and that she's an obnoxious brat who is loud, excessive, and a terrible cook, she's all those things because she's actually a 5-year-old who uses her magic to look 16. The only other thing the show that's remotely this cool is have Nina uppercut the protagonist goggles right off of Zero's head midway through the first episode. Outside the fact that the DW we saw before, which can fly, disappears midway through the second episode. But I digress. Now, let's see. 5's illusion magic is also a really open-ended skill set, given that it allows him to teleport no less than 2 different ways, and also should the occasion arise, trap people in arcade machines. Just to capture this stuff. Forte's magic. Forte's hypnosis magic is also really open-ended. It allows him to control animals, to control people, you know, kind of cool. Allows you to control...
The helicopter!
It also allows him to call out fire. And conjure snakes out of thin air, which is especially weird because his partner's magic is exactly summoning creatures. Like, come on, at least hers are cooler.
Magic card.
I came from Maid Swarm, I stayed for the airfish. It didn't work out. And our protagonist's powers. Nothing more broad than destruction and protection. Like, we are painting with broad strokes. Actually, there is one weird subtle thing about the show, is that in the magical world, while you can learn essentially any kind of magic, it's like being a mechanic or a martial artist. Not everybody does. And as a result, since that's the only difference between our two worlds, their world doesn't look a whole lot different from ours. So we've got, you know, a regular city. Now, hang on a second. This is from Zero Nichi's backstory episode. In Son and Forte's backstory episode, we're told that their grandfather was a very powerful person, yet when his daughter falls ill for no readily discernible reason, everybody thinks it's because of Son. I mean, she's had, you know, really powerful magic since she was very small, but, I mean, Percy, really? Your civilization has built skyscrapers. This is the 21st century. Magicians are not uncommon throughout your citizenry. Does nobody know enough about what they're talking about to say one way or the other? Like, Forte, what is your take on this situation? Thank you, Forte. So, in summary, if you're looking for a show that has well thought out magical goings on and happens in a believable fashion, you may wish to skip over Mamotte Lollipop. Don't be.
Oh no! Alright, Brendan.
Alright, pretty awesome. So, what do we got next? Why, it's Fate Stay. I hear a few fans back there. This is going to be fun. Alright, so what was the deal with Fate Stay Night? A concept so cool that went so horribly wrong. Let's start with the concept. Alright, so we've got this, it's basically a battle royale between legendary figures from history. Like you might have Gilgamesh or King Arthur fighting each other. And the prize for this thing is getting the Holy Grail, which will grant any wish. So, alright, pretty cool. For example, we have the main character. The main character gets to summon King Arthur, who is female, but deal with it. So, deal with it. King Arthur's a girl. Alright. Now the real problem with the show, though, is the characters. This is where everything goes south. Like this jerk, who is so stubborn I want to punch him. Or this teacher, who is so annoying. She's just so cliche, it's awful. And then the little jailbait girl starts clinging to him. And then, why is this turning into a harem anime? This is about fighting, not heroes. And, oh god, now there's a tsundere. Now, you might ask yourself, how bad could a tsundere be? If I look her up in the dictionary for TV shows, that's her picture in the dictionary for tsundere. Then there's these two, who are so tragic. Look at these guys, they have their own shot in the opening. Let's see what happens. This guy, he just sort of fades away, never to be seen again. He's so sad. And this girl, I can't remember this girl's name. She tries to be a character, and then she gets captured and dumped in now. That's her whole characterization. But enough about those two, because I get sad thinking about them. Let's go off to how things looked like they were going to be cool. We have all these powers, there's this cool backstory, we've got this character, we see all this cool magical stuff's going to start happening. Really, though, things go south when everyone lets this kid into the cool kids club and gives him his own summon. Oh, that's a terrible idea. Why is it so terrible? Let's look at this kid. He has no idea what he's doing. Now, that makes sense in a lot of these shows. You have no idea what the game is, but fine. What's his problem? He may not know anything, but he knows that you're doing it wrong. And dang it, he's going to make it, do it his way, even if it's the stupidest way imaginable. And of course, he's going to try as hard as he can to turn this into a harem. So I don't know. This is what I looked like. And here's why. The game is really dangerous. You know what? King Arthur there can probably fight pretty cool, but do you think you can fight like King Arthur? No. So the easiest way to win is to take out the other humans, not take out the other summons. So keep your summon with you at all times. It's the way to win and also live. What do you think this kid does, being as stubborn as he is? He never friggin' brings her with him, anywhere. So, let's see how that works out for him. Alright, step one, let's go to school all by ourselves and wait till everyone's gone home for the day, and oh no, an ambush! And she knows it, too. So he gets out of that and runs off alone into the woods at sunset. How do you think that's going to work out? Oh, an ambush! This time from somebody who's actually like a summon in pretty serious business. You can see him over there getting himself messed up. How does that work out for him? Not so hot. Now, miraculously, he gets out of that. But he shouldn't. But then he does it again. Okay, let's go to school. Now we're working together with that girl because she's tsundere, so it works out for him. She gives him some very simple instructions. I think all of you could probably follow those instructions, right? Can he follow those instructions? 5 seconds later, he's back to the school by himself, because that's cool. Immediately ambushed. Immediately. I hate him. But he makes it through again. Alright, let's try again. He gets a mysterious phone call from someone being like, come to school by yourself with none of your allies. He's like, this can't be a trap. No, what's going on? Is this a trap? Okay, he keeps surviving. I hate that kid. He just never gets better. She's even trying to educate him. And does he listen? No. He's like, no, I'm doing mine. After a certain point, the show seriously starts to get into making things up territory. Let's have a look. So we started talking about things called noble phantasms. Did you make that up? Yeah, they made that up. All right. What's a noble phantasm? We've got weaker ones that last forever. Think of them like a pistol. And huge ones like missiles, which are really powerful. Okay, we got that down. What about magic? Because people are using magic. Well, it's totally ineffectual. Okay, got it. All right. What about mysteries? What are you talking about? Like, miracles? It just starts... Okay, legendary creatures that draw the divine planes, I'm calling BS on that. Like, that doesn't even make sense. So what do we have going on here? What does anything in this show mean? I have no idea. Now, you've had this whole episode of exposition. What does it matter? Well, everyone keeps using magic and it works. They never talk about the two different kinds of noble phantasms, or miracles, or legendary creatures, so that was useful. Oh, look, a legendary creature. Now, does that look like it takes out a whole army? It's a horse with wings. So no, it doesn't. How about swords, which are anti-personnel? Okay, they turn into a buster cannon, so nothing they said matters. But you know what? We're just going to move on. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. Now, there's art looked pretty good, right? But there's these parts where it just takes a dive. Like, here. This head to stare into your soul. Those horrible eyes will haunt her forever. Other scenes, equally terrible. Like, what is going on? And then, oh no. It is a horrible CG dragon. Like, it's so ugly. I almost stopped watching. And then, of course, doesn't help that this show's translation also wasn't effective. Like this over here. And just for you folks who might not believe that it's just the translation that's bad, I have prepared for you what he's saying in this scene. Yeah, I don't know if anyone heard that because this is really quiet. Is this working? Wait a minute, let's try that again. Oh, louder. Yeah. So it's every bit as bad as it looks. Alright, so what's the worst part about the show? The worst part is Saber, who's the girl there, is supposed to be King Arthur, who's pretty awesome, and we keep trying to turn her into this harem object. Which, you know, I've seen plenty of harem anime, I don't need to see anymore. So before, she was kind of cool. She's like, Shiro, you were the worst protagonist in all of anime history. And she's got a good reason for fighting, and then suddenly it starts turning into the harem, like, oh no, we got caught touching each other. Or, oh no, look at me, you know, act like this. I want you to remember that she's this person who's been leading, you know, the nation of England in battle for years. Like, this isn't who she should be compared to this guy. These are the two people we're trying to get together in this show. The lowest point in this show had to be right here. She's like, I don't want to fight because we might touch each other. Really? You're King Arthur! Come on. All right, everything just goes downhill from there. Where she's like, oh, no, not good enough. And he's like, I'm going to take her out on a date. I'm like, are you serious? A date? You've got to be joking. Alright, you know what? How's he doing with living? Is he getting any better at that? No, let's have snacks with the enemy. How does that go for him? Lonely death stare. Instantly, like, everything goes horribly wrong. It's like 3 episodes of resolution, main characters die. Of course he lives through it. I hate him. Like, there's other parts of the plot which just don't go anywhere. Like, let's look at this character. She looks kind of cool. She's talking to him, like, she seems kind of hard. Oh, she looks like really important. Is she important? No. She gets friggin' blown away in, like, one of these episodes and is never heard from again. Or this guy. He looks pretty awesome. Does everyone agree he looks awesome? How does he do? He's got about 2 minutes of total screen time before he's dead. It's just so sad. But this character, she looks really important. There's all this symbolism. She's not really one of the magicians, but she has magic in her blood. Is she going to get involved? Does she have a dark, mysterious past? No, we're going to use her once, dress her up like a skank, and throw her away. That's all you hear from her. And then we start rolling towards the end of the show, where everything that we've been seeing before just gets worse, so much worse. Is he good at living yet? No. He's going to go, but like, the voices in his head are telling him he's an idiot at this point. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Of course he survives. Where's this guy? Now this guy, he's kind of a jerk, a little bit of a chauvinist pig. He's crazy overpowered, like his character is broken in ways even the show doesn't think are right. And then it turns out he starts to push the bounds of good taste in anime pretty far. You start thinking to yourself, how did they write this character? And then there's a point where it's just like, alright buddy, like somebody needs to stop you, because you're a disgrace to this show. Anyway, making things up gets kicked up into overdrive. Our whole body's made out of these circuits. What are you talking about? The scabbard's in your body. The scabbard's fused to your body. There's mana density in the 5 true magics, and you're just making things up. And then it's revealed that the family is, like, remember the little jailbait girl? She's this family here, and she and her, like, family, they were made of the system to get the Holy Grail, so why wouldn't they just make it so they always win? It's just so made up. But whatever. Remember that thing we're after? The Holy Grail, the thing that's going to grant wishes? It turns out it's basically a bomb. So, like, I'm glad everyone's fighting so hard to get this thing, but, you know, screw you. And it's all this guy's fault. He's the most mustache-twirlingly evil villain. I mean, you can't even believe he's human. Let's have a look. So, first of all, he just lied to everybody throughout the show. And the main character killed, actually. He actually did die. And then he stabbed the student so she could die. This is one of his actual quotes from the show. Yeah, what a great guy. And then remember that little girl? He stripped her naked and had her hung in the sky on a cross, because he's that kind of guy. 10 years ago, he touched the Holy Grail, blowing up that kid's entire town and killing his parents. And then he got himself a new father, and he cursed him too, to die in the most painful... So how to sum this guy up in one quote from his own mouth, it would be, I devour the light of the stars to live. He's just a parody of villainy. He's so just ridiculous. But whatever, our main character's going to pacifist up to the point. Apparently a speech like that is what it takes to stop being a pacifist. And then right after that, bam, the show just ends, like a problem. It's pretty much over, no more harem stuff, that's nice. So, he learned something, of course, out of the experience, I guess. And I hope that you all have learned something too.
Alright guys, so this is the last one. This should be phenomenal. Yes! Anyway. Alright, Munto here is very special because it's actually a double dose of mediocrity. It's phenomenal. Like, it tries really hard to be a fantasy anime and a slice of life, and it's going to fail real hardcore at being both. I'm going to take you through it. So we're going to follow 2 sides, right? Heaven and Earth. And they're both just awful. It's phenomenal. Alright, so Heaven's side, right, consists of this blind prophet chick. This guy who so desperately wants to be an important character and fails. And Pop Prince Munto. Alright, so here's the spiel. Heaven is sort of kind of falling apart. Like, these giant pillars from heaven are falling onto the earth. And, you know, things are awful. So, Munto here has got to jump down into our earthly world and save heaven. Of course, no one comes back from, you know, such a jump. Good thing he's not just anyone, he's the Pop Prince. With his sweet, tight hands, he can jump down to earth and save heaven. Thanks, small annoying girl. I'm pretty sure he's an idiot too. Alright, so we can't have a show without evil. And boy, are these guys evil, I think. Literally, they don't do anything but sit in this council room the whole entire OVA. Like, I think they're evil, and they think they're evil, but that's about it. So they're like, guys, there's no energy down there. How on earth is Pop Prince Munto gonna survive? Well, clearly there's gotta be some chick, right? There's gotta be some chick who daydreams a lot, that's the key to the dating sim. The key to the heavenly lands. I'm not really twelve-ish boy, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, yeah, she's like in 3D dating sim, like spinning round and round, and they're like talking about her. Anyway, so I gotta give the show some credit for about 5 seconds, because it actually starts off by giving off this really emotional, moment. So, I told you the prophet's blind, right? She's blind because she has a prophecy that's so intense that she loses her eyesight. This really dramatic scene. In order to give Munto this vision of the future that says, hey, go get that girl and, fix heaven. So I was like, all right, this is really legit, right? You're going to tell me a story now about heaven. A story that just never freaking ends. She just keeps talking about things that don't really matter. So you guys are like, what's going on, right? Quick, I'll summarize for you. So here's your Spark Notes version. There's some girl, the 7 heavenly continents are falling apart, Munto's got to save us, and there's evil people. Don't worry about this slide, because literally none of this is going to matter. None of it. It's fantastic, right? But look, I had to keep watching. As long as there's some trace of plot, I had to keep going. Alright, enough of you, Heaven. It's time for the earthly cast. So Yami, our girl of destiny, and Ichiko and Suzume. Oh, so that's who we're gonna follow, right? Rory's still talking. It flashes back to her, and there's just a pond, and she's still trying to give us Heaven's plot. I was like, please stop talking. Please stop talking. I'm trying to focus on the earthly cast here. Hello. Alright, so right off we're watching, and we're like, there's something not quite right with that one. But oh my god, I think that's because, guess what? Hot Prince Munto's here. Oh, yeah, he's like, some girlfriend freaking give me your powers. And she's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna try and touch you, kaboom. And he's like, I'm gonna freaking take him. And then, I can't, because made up plot. Like the time-space patch. I don't even know what that is, but that's why he can't touch her. I'm gonna go with restraining order. But time-space patches sounds good. So, he's gonna call to her, right? He's gonna be like, Yami, can you hear me? And I'm like, this is the part where you're gonna explain Akuto, or you're gonna explain the enemy. No, guys, we don't have time. No. Alright, so that was great, Earth. What's going on with you, Heaven? I don't freaking know. We flip back to Heaven. By the way, the jarring transition is just like this. You think I'm making this up? It's like, Earth, Heaven, battle, stuff. I don't know what's going on, but that guy's here, right? And he's got this bitchin' tattoo. That blows crap up. And I was like, you know what the worst part of this is? The show begins to insult me by having the villains talk about him as though I'm supposed to know what's going on. They're like, man, he's an outsider, and isn't he taking it a bit much? And I'm like, what the heck are you guys doing? What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. We gotta eliminate the magical kingdom, guys. That's what's important. That's what's really important. But here's the deal. All the while, they're not worried about the war on heaven. They're not worried about all that jazz. What the enemy is worried about is that Munto must be up to something. I'll tell you exactly what he's freaking up to. He's sitting around creeping on Yami. He just sits there. So, Earth, help me out here. Oh, finally, I can back Ichiko on this. She's like, you know what, Yami, that red-haired guy that jumped out of nowhere that only you seem to be able to see, I think he's dangerous. Just throwing it out on a limb there. Right, Suzume? I'm going to tell you guys a little story about Suzume here. Suzume is not the brightest crayon in rocks. And the show acknowledges it. And at the same time tries to acknowledge her existence in the show. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure someone was high when they wrote her. You don't acknowledge that, Heaven. Oh, shut up. So what's going on Earth? Suzume is getting But you know what? That's not the biggest problem. What did I tell you the biggest problem is? Munto is up to something. I know he is. I'm going to tell you right now. Right now, guys. All 4 of these screens, he's standing around with the wind blowing in his hair. He ain't up to something. He ain't up to something. All right. So, Bill and Cash, you're going to make things happen. Nothing has happened in the whole damn OVA. Please, you're going to make up crap. What the hell is that? They don't even know what the hell it is because it's a made-up robot. Made-up plot. They're just like, this is a thing from a war from a long time ago that's stopping because Munto's on a place with no energy, which we haven't described. This robot will kill him. That's fantastic. Like, I am so done with Heaven's plot right now. Please tell me that earthly crap plot with the marriage thing is not a son of... No! I certainly hope your parents aren't kosher with you two getting married. Alright, so here's where things get just... He's like, you know, my whole life has been dark and awful. And I'm like, we haven't done anything important all OVA. We haven't described anything. We haven't told me anything. I don't understand who the villains is. I don't even get what this Akuto thing is and what her powers are. We don't have time for your backstory. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. Once upon a time, I was a small boy who philosophized a lot. My mommy called me. I was happy about it, not happy enough to follow the path of the samurai. I wish I could show you guys what happened in the scene, because the camera just pans up and he's standing on a bunch of other students' bodies with this like sword. I was like, what do you do? Just beat kids up for fun? Like, please. Anyway, you can't live like that all the time, guys. You know, eventually, his parents and society had no need for a samurai. Like, that's just not kosher. So why are you even living? Whoa, that's deep. That's deep. And you know, when you're this far down, there's only one thing that can save you from the darkness. I'm pretty sure their romantic encounter happened something like this. And so they were married. They literally wade out into the middle of a river and are married. Like, they just dive into the river, and I was like, this is sheer chaos. Like, everything is wrong and broken in half. Like, who's gonna save them? Those adults in the background? No, they're anime adults. They're useless. They can't swim. They're like at the bottom drunk. Like, okay. All right. Our main characters will save them, guys. Don't you worry about it. Oh, come on! Come on, I just can't take it anymore. Oh, you guys made it? That's great. That's great. Love for you. Yay, please. Yay, love. I hope the whole town thinks you're nuts. Oh my freaking God. It was like, guys, at this moment, it was like everybody was in on a joke I just wasn't getting. And I was so angry about it, I decided to say, screw this, it's time for a public service announcement. Alright, can I get a hand for all the ladies in the room? Everybody?
This guy.
Alright, this is definitely for all of you. It is for everyone, but it's definitely for all the ladies. Ladies, have you seen this man? Listen to me. He's gonna start taking you in with this divine, like, daughter of the earth thing. You're gonna be drawn in, right? He appears out of nowhere. He's demanding your powers. Then he's gonna start verbally abusing you. Then he's gonna lie to you a lot. Like, half of what he's saying in here is just lies. Like, the earth is falling apart. No, it's not. Are you gonna explain that? No, there's no time. There's never time to explain anything. Never, never, never. I'm so... Anyway. When you're feeling bad about yourself, like really bad about yourself, that's when he's gonna strike harder. He may in fact be a stalker ghost. Whatever the hell that is. He's gonna lie to you some more. Like the destruction of both of our race. Everything's fine. It's like sunny half the damn day. Our race is gonna be destroyed. Are you gonna explain this? Guys, stop asking for that. There's There is no time. And you know what, ladies? You're going to be ready to resist, because I've told you all about this. Too bad it's raping. Watch out. So guess what? Nothing's happened the whole damn OVA, but it's time to save everyone's future. I don't even understand what's happening, but suddenly that whole space-time light thing breaks down. She can see him. Hi, they touch each other. Marriage. Or something. I don't even know. I don't know what happens. Lightning happens, and then everything's great forever. Right? Freaking the bad guys are defeated. All the pillars go back to normal.
Did they even fight the robot?
Harry's eyesight comes back. My one emotional moment shattered. And just for you, sir, as though the show couldn't kick me any harder. Ladies and gentlemen, when you see this Pop Prince face, you know what's coming. You know, just avoid these freaking OVA guys. Just avoid.
Or was it, I'm pretty sure I used to think I was the only person who thought Fate Stay Night was terrible. But it's great that people agree with me.
I wanted to like it. I really did, but
Yeah, same here. It's got a great concept.
I know.
And then all the characters are just so hateable.
The first moment I saw Saber's character design, that was the moment I know I have to watch this show.
Yeah.
This has got to be great.
Yeah.
Like they're actually, showing a woman in like reasonable armor. She's covered from head to toe. This has got to be awesome. And it lets us down.
Yes. It starts out with a really nice and interesting concept, and then it's gone. Well, admittedly, people dying there makes total sense in context.
It does, but it's so easy to make fun of.
It was so interesting.
Yep.
One second, let me get some sound there. ITT, powered
Short and straight.
We wouldn't survive if trash was all we watched. So, we're here to bring you good anime now. You gotta know where good anime you have your feet, so we have a bunch of shows that I'm interested in watching.
Now, before we get started, I need to say something to Sue here.
What would that be?
Your takedown of Munto at the end of the last panel just now was unfair.
Brennan, we gotta roll with this panel. You really gonna start this now?
You deliberately misrepresented several parts of that OVA to make it appear worse than it actually is.
So, let me get straight. You're not telling me you actually enjoyed Munto.
Well, his flaws were too significant for me to take that stance.
Okay, then I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I informed people about a terrible